Madam Secretary, thank you so much for joining me here today. First, let me say that it is such an honor for me to come and to interview you at all here at Wellesley College, your alma mater. My name is Katie Chanpong. I am the College Government President and Class of 2010 here at Wellesley College. And I just wanted to know, what about your Wellesley education prepared you to be a diplomat and to enter the international stage?
Well, when I came to Wellesley in 1955, I knew that I wanted to major in political science. My father was a Czechoslovak diplomat, and I had kind of grown up in an international setting, but it was my Wellesley education that provided me with all the tools in terms of trying to sort out what was happening all the time. I have to admit that a lot of the things that I learned are out of date. A lot of kind of alphabet soup about organizations and things that no longer exists. But the study skills that I learned at Wellesley and the capability of thinking things through and questioning and really getting into depth in an issue and not being superficial were all skills that I got at Wellesley. And this is why I'm so convinced that the Albright Institute is going to be so important. Is it was a big deal for a political science major to take economics. It seemed kind of out of the area. And the fact that you can be a double major is a huge difference. But what I believe, and this is why I'm so excited about the Institute, is that there has to be an interdisciplinary approach to dealing with international issues these days, and the Institute is going to bring all those things together.
Why do you believe that Wellesley College, a liberal arts women's college, is a good fit for the Madeleine Korbel Albright Institute for Global Affairs?
Well, it is true. I mean, I got my graduate degrees at Columbia, and I teach at Georgetown, and my father has a school named after him now at the University of Denver. But my loyalty is to Wellesley. I loved everything about this place. I think it certainly, as I said, is instrumental in the development of my life. But I also have kept up with developments at Wellesley, and I think it provides the best combination of an educational basis as well as just its liberal arts approach, the diversity of the student body, and the kind of young woman that comes into Wellesley and who leaves Wellesley. So it is a very good combination. I also have spent a large part of my professional life supporting women's issues, not as people classically think women's issues are health or culture, but I believe that everything is a woman's issue. And I have believed that developing skills of women is one way to really assure stability in the world, because it doesn't make any sense in societies where more than half of the population are women not to have women politically and economically empowered. And the only way that can happen is to develop women leaders, and I think that's what Wellesley does.
At this time where so many women are stepping up to the plate and taking on these leadership roles that you and other distinguished Wellesley alums have really come to the forefront and led the charge for us, why did you decide to establish the Institute now? Why now?
Well, I think that what has to happen now is to understand the interdisciplinary aspect of dealing with transnational problems, which is what is going on. And I think that this seems like a very good time because there is so much change going on. We have a new president and who really does see things in a way of America reaching out, of cooperation with others, who understands the integration of these various issues. And there has definitely been a generational change in the American political scene, and that is only going to get greater. And so I think this is a very good time to help train a whole new group of young women that are prepared to kind of follow in the stream of generational change.
What is the most interesting aspect of the Institute to you?
Well, for me, what is interesting is that we're not raising money for a building. This is a very organic institute. It's going to evolve. It is not kind of set in concrete, literally. It is going to be something where there's an original part that has to do with the winter session and great involvement of a set of students with faculty and then visiting scholars. I have committed myself to be here at the first year. And then also internships in a variety of areas, and then coming back and really exchanging the information that came out of the internships and the winter session. And what I love about it is the fact that it's dynamic and it can evolve to cover a lot of different aspects. We can always enlarge it to cover more areas, though, as we begin to talk about that it has to have students that are interested in religion and anthropology and science, and then obviously classically political science and history and economics, but it can be very large, and I think that's what excites me about it, is that we are creating a really living organ and not just some kind of structured institute that can't change unless the advisors of the board, take a lot of votes and that kind of thing. So it's going to be very organic.
Oh, wow. This sounds really exciting. I'm dying to get involved with it myself. So one of my favorite professors at Wellesley College, she's actually a political science professor, has this sign on her door that says, "Dissent is patriotic." And too often I feel that the minority voice is not heard enough. And because it is in the minority and not popular at the time, it's not a valid opinion. Where do you feel, or how do you feel, that the Albright Institute will empower this ideological minority to step up, to take action, and to really make their beliefs come to fruition?
Well, it's interesting because I think things have switched a little bit here. When I was here, when you talk about minority, I was a Democrat in a sea of Republicans, and I think that things are a little bit different now. But I think that what is interesting about any college experience is the capability of listening to what other people have to say and respecting their views and opinions. Now, what is important if you are both the majority and the minority is to be able to argue your point coherently, marshaling facts, and also have the capability of being very strong in what you say. And I do think that students have to learn that. There are a lot of people who have diverse beliefs but are afraid to voice them, or sometimes don't voice them very well. They get, either they're intimidated by having a different idea, but more often than not, it's just not having the skills to voice your opinion. So I hope that as a part of the Albright Institute, that there really is a way that people feel comfortable in voicing what they have to say, but also capable of voicing what they think. Because often it isn't a matter that their views aren't respected, it's just that they don't state them very well. What is interesting is I have felt for certainly the last years that there is a sense that it's not patriotic to ask questions. And so I often said that I considered it my patriotic duty to ask questions. That is the responsibility of citizenship, and that's also the responsibility of being a good student, is to really ask a lot of questions. Professors have to answer them, and makes them think too. So I think it's a matter that I would hope that the students that participate at the Albright Institute have developed the capabilities of expressing their views very clearly.